Yes, let's go to our guest, Shannon. Um, do we have Andrew here?
Yes, Andrew is with
Okay, our
us.
first guest is Andrew Arboe. He is the founder of Driving with Autism. Previously, he was director of community outreach for planning across the spectrum. And Andrew's special interest is on driving. He wants to help others navigate the driving journey with more supports than he had. He's basing this on his own experience. He helped inspire the first driving program in Connecticut for the autism community, and he hosts monthly webinars that break the topic down, make it more approachable for families and individuals. And he shares his personal journey and goes over motivation and strategies. And he's quite accomplished. He graduated from Manchester Community College with an associate degree as a disability specialist. He's currently attending Charter Oak State College for a bachelor's degree in psychology, and he hopes to get certified in both autism and driver rehab fields soon. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me there, and I'm still part of Planning Across the Spectrum, just for that quick collection.
Wonderful.
But again, everything else is top notch.
Okay, great. Andrew, tell us first of all, what is Driving with Autism?
Excellent question. It is my newest company. It's a kind of like an online program. It deals because we're not really connected to a driving school. We're not connected with state or like federal levels. We kind of just our own kind of just its own program, and this deals with driver prep. It's kind of like how someone can pursue the driving journey at like any point, either if it's very at the beginning or maybe they're still at a driving school, or like any point of that driving journey. And the main function of the program is the 7-part webinar series. Currently, I'm in the winter session, but I announced our spring session, and there's probably gonna be a summer and fall session. So it's a series that's like ongoing, and it handles topics like driver's motivation. I'm a huge believer in motivation, and once someone attends the webinars, it's very telling that I'm very solutions based in a not yelling John Chaffers type of way. I'm a huge bar rescue. I watch so much of that, and I just enjoy that philosophy. Without the yelling, mind you, for the yelling is very entertaining. But I just like solution space. Like I'm not one for victimizing. Like I always believe in just be able to empower people and just just expecting their selective choices for driving because it's very personal.
I love that.
Like I mentioned, that I went for driving because well I had to because well I have to make use of that degree while I am going for my bachelor's. I mean I'm currently taking a break just because life's got really crazy and I want to get a good feel of running this company in particular.
Wonderful. So, Andrew, I've got a question for you because
Mhm.
I think a lot of us are like, if we're the parent of a wonderful individual
Right.
on a
Mhm.
spectrum, what signs need to be showing that would say to us that they would be ready to work on driving? Like, do you just carte blanche, everybody should work on driving? Or are there specific things that lead you to say, okay, this person is ideal to start working on this?
Very good question. It depends on various things. Various things of that there's like an expressed interest. One should never force anyone to just do that and that's it. Absolutely not, because as Stephen Shaw said, you meet one person, you only meet that one specific person.
Yes.
And while I know statistics currently have it like 1 in 3 teens, I know it's like an old study fun. I think it was Speaks or some other organization that did that particular study there. And so there's a lot of gray areas. And I actually did a lot of past consultations for Planet Across the Spectrum a year ago, just kind of getting like a good feel of new drivers and parent perspectives. And I like to take in a lot of perspectives because I just have my own experience, and I'm in no way like I cannot possibly present some of the other drivers out there. And I think there can only be one Angel Audible in terms of driver, unless there's hundreds of me that are listening to video game music as I drive. Something I use to hyper focus a lot. I don't think a lot of drivers can top that. But yeah, it just depends various things like on motivation again. stress that in circumstances because what life happens. And I think I originally wanted to start driving around when I was 21, but but it was after I graduated my post program, and I kind of wanted to get a good feel of my part-time job at the time, so I kind of put it off. And I was using a lot of buses for my community college experience. So in that case, I kind of waited off, and then I went back to it when I was like 23, and I got my license back 2018 when I was 25.
Oh,
It
okay.
just depends, but again, it's also important, and to go back on the consultations, it's important to kind of look at any potential red flags of if anything that might stand out, like if there's any specific conditions, like obviously seizures could probably give someone a lot of challenges to kind of overcome, of finding kind of the right solutions for that. And again, and there's a lot of possibilities. Like I keep seeing a lot of stuff on driving. Like I know with deaf drivers, people that drive that have a lot of specific hearing issues, for lack of a better term. Apologies if anyone's super picky. Not trying to. The intent, not the actual wording itself. But there's like just a lot of possibilities. It's kind of just the potential of just people in general that keeps surprising me every day. Again, and then pretty much long story short, just it depends on numerous factors and a lot of personal ones. It could be just inner reasons, and a lot of those should be approached. And again, you don't have to throw them off to a highway right away, and absolutely do not. But again, self-pace yourself is key. Like pacing yourself and seeing what makes sense and what doesn't make sense,
Right.
and
Andrew,
don't push them off the highway.
Andrew, you've referred to when you started driving, and let's talk a little bit about your background. Can you tell us about your journey when you were diagnosed and what led you to doing the work you're doing today?
I have a trip. I was diagnosed around 5 or 6. It was like early 2000s, so it was kind of shortly after there was a lot more attention to autism. Like the 90s were still kind of building over time, and then the 80s you have Temple Grandin starting to emerge and start like speaking everywhere. So it was kind of that. I guess the 90s, it could safely say, be that odd spot where people were still learning, while I can only imagine there were numerous around stereotypes. And then the concept of neurodiversity was also being developed, I think, 1999 with Julius Senior, if I'm not mistaken. If I get some of that wrong, probably someone will crucify me at some point. But there was still a lot of things, and I was friends with someone that just was into video games super much. Like video games probably drove my brother and probably past sisters just crazy. Probably the school. So like I would be someone that would talk about Pokemon a lot, that being a major interest. And also in the late 90s, in the Pokemon craze, like of course, like that was pretty much like one of the notable cultural phenomenons out there during that time, late 90s and early 2000s.
Our
And then
producer is identifying with everything that you're saying,
I just
Andrew.
got a private message. I just got that.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Hope you didn't mind that, but I had to react. I
No,
got
no,
that
it's
at the
okay.
exact same time. Actually,
Exactly.
there is a Pokemon plush that's hanging up there. I completely forgot. I thought it would be like a Zoom background, but I'm fine with the Office one. But um, but how I got into autism field, it's something that still I never expected to kind of be where I'm at right now. What started was at high school. I was already thinking about cooking, believe it or not. Not because of Gordon Ramsay or John Taffer, just kind of more was thinking of something that makes sense for me. I did some cooking at home numerous times, not as much, but I know I had still basics. And a lot of times my dad shoots me down on cooking if I want to help him. So whip on that end, and also the high school where I was at, they closed down the cooking class right when I was about to become a junior. So whip on that too. And I did actually I think I had like a job corps. I think I had like a job site thing when I was in a post education program, and it was too chaotic. Too chaotic. A lot of just moving around. And I had no idea what in the heck I was doing. I was like, where do you find this? Where do you find this? And why people like move around? It's kind of like some of the stuff you see in Kitchen Nightmares. Again, reality TV, but some of that like fast pace. I wouldn't say Hell's Kitchen because, well, Hell's Kitchen is a lot more, could be a bit more staged while it is reality TV, but it's pretty much one of those high stress environments. So that didn't work for me. And I kind of stood out again. I'm usually one that tend to make things harder for me. To go back to driving for a little bit, I could have chosen to look for like autism services and driving in case of accommodations. I chose not to, not because of any stigmas or stereotypes or whatever. I just wanted to just go through this program in particular.
You mentioned that one of the reasons that was important to you was so that you could get to work and that you could get to college. And I think, as our kids grow older, it just becomes more and more clear to me all the different things that they need to be independent. And we have a dear friend, Andrew, that passed away a little over a year ago.
Oh,
Her name was
hmm,
Joanne Laura, and she was the head of
oh,
Autism Works Now. And Joanne would always say to us, everyone deserves to have a job because that's how you get a seat at the table. And I'm seeing now that part of having a job, I don't know why this didn't occur to me before, but my son wasn't working before and he wasn't going to
mhm,
school someplace else before, but how you get there is sometimes a measure of what kind of work you'll
mhm.
be doing, because if you can't get to the job you can't do it. So is independence one of the big reasons why you advocate for people on the spectrum to be driving?
It's more personal. I kind of want something to exist. And while there's a lot of ambiguous elements that could go into driving, I mean, there is a reason, like like a selective number. Again, that was based on that 2017 study.
Yeah.
It could be a lot different, and there's actually been a lot more research lately on on autism and driving. Almost to say driving with autism. It's like almost my language right now.
Right.
But there was a lot more research. Like I think it was like a month or two ago, there was that study with the caretakers and how they not play around, but how they try to answer parents' questions. And no, and they mentioned, I think it mentioned that they weren't really equipped. I could be wrong. It's been a little while since I looked at it, but it's kind of like an example of most recent research. And then you have like select places in in the United States, like the New Jersey University over there, and then the Philadelphia Children's Hospital that are doing kind of constant autism research. Two places
Mhm.
I have my eyes on because they've just been the most consistent in terms of transportation studies, especially both of those locations. So again, the little things that be probably be may look a lot different on the research end.
Mhm.
Great. Andrew, can you tell us about some success stories that you've experienced in doing this work
On my end,
with
or
those you've
through
worked with, with those you've worked with?
a good one, and I will probably will put in my own as well because again, I can only like again, I'm a huge like I don't try to speak for everyone else because I'm again just my own. Like I said, they can only be one Angel Audible. Uh, but for the people that I had from the consultations, like I had a couple and a couple that also kind of wanted to do their own thing because hey, I was this was all was happening during the pandemic, which may or not still be a thing. It's hard to tell right now, but but I got several cases where I would hear if they passed like a written test, like those sort of things. Like I'd be like, awesome. Like I like to check. Like I checked in with them like every several weeks. Each person, there was a couple that did attain their license, and that always makes me happy. But I'm also accepting that if they need time to do other stuff, like it honestly is fine. Especially again, pandemic time, so that, and then just to go for my own and for my own success, well, outside like the company, it just a lot of fulfillment. The fact I was able to go to all the places. Before the pandemic, I used to be everywhere in autism events in the state of Connecticut. Like I'd be going to like the south side of Connecticut. I'd be going to like Danbury, close to the Newark border, close to the upstate. I think it was the upstate Newark border, not the city part. Like I'd be going, like I would be all over the place. And the last week or couple, I've been tempted to do a little trip to Massachusetts. And also, this is something I discovered today. Google Maps, when I use that as GPS, I have the little mouth thing on my phone because I'm one for hands free. And there was a lot
Mhm.
of cool devices that you could use to kind of make it so you could put it near your steering wheel. not where it attacks the phone, mind you, but kind of put it near it, and when you drive, you don't have to do like this. You could be like you barely have to move your head, and I love those. And now they have the air vents, so that makes life easy and nothing sticks. And I discovered today was an auction in your Google Maps thing where you could pretty much do planned trips without tolls. And I'm like, this whole time, I could have been going to different parts of Massachusetts or even Newark if I want to. Not the city part. I dare not to drive in New York City traffic.
Okay.
That's like a whole new dimension of driving, as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
It's like things that you discover over time.
Right.
Yeah. So Andrew, where can people go? What's your website? Where can they go if they're interested in a consultation or they want to take your course?
There are several websites. The main website is autism-driving.com. When you go on there, you'll see a lot of you see the webinar series that are paid. They would kind of go over specific packages that come with additional resources. And we also have free resources as well, including the free to download ebook. And we have a blog page full of many blog topics. The most recent we actually put up is anxiety, something I've been looking forward to. I've been seeing a lot more reactions on the anxiety topic, and each topic relates to the webinar topics. Check those out, and again, it's www.autismdriving.com. And to find us, and you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Just search up Driving with Autism, and that's where you see the latest updates. And in the future, there'll be a newsletter system coming up that I'm looking for, that people have been signing up, that I'm hoping to launch that very soon. And again, our spring series is coming up on the midst of 2 more topics left in the winter session, which is crazy. Literally yesterday, I actually talked about the police one being one of the 7 topics.
Okay. And I assume there's a cost associated with it, Andrew. What does it cost to take the class?
Okay, package 1, which is kind of like the basic deal. That's kind of like you get the courses and you get some resources, mostly access to like the state DMV website and a few others that'd be like a good little jump kick. The package 1 is $3.99, and then package 2, which comes with additional resources and a personal 60-minute consultation with myself, $5.49. And there are deals and coupons, so be on the lookout for those as well.
Okay. All right, Andrew, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate hearing from you and hearing about all the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me on here.
We appreciate
We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.